For 1 week every year, a few massive halls in Hamburg become the most expensive real estate in the sky. This is the Aircraft Interiors Expo, or AIX, the high-stakes battlefield where the future of how we fly is decided. We're currently in an era where the standard cabin is being completely dismantled. Airlines are no longer just fighting over legroom, they're competing to turn the aircraft into a flying ecosystem of ultra-light materials, hyper-personalized tech, and private sanctuaries. From seats that stack on top of each other to modular business-class suites that feel like high-end apartments, the innovations here are a direct response to the more demanding traveller. Today we're going behind the scenes with the engineers and disruptors who are redesigning the passenger experience from the ground up. These are the most interesting reveals from AIX and why your next long-haul flight might look nothing like the ones you've taken before. So it's 7:20 on Tuesday, and that's my second day at AIX, but today is the first day that AIX really opens to the public. So yesterday was just a little preview day while things were still being set up. Now, you may be wondering why I'm at AIX at 7:20 in the morning. Well, we're now going to a couple of press briefings that will take place before the show officially opens, and yeah, follow along to see what we find. Our first stop is a project that has been consistently the most talked about and debated concept in the industry. It's a radical reimagining of how we use vertical space in the economy cabin. This is the Chaise Longue.
The ultimate prototype, as I would say, it's the best we can do as a startup with this concept. We have developed the project to a point where we know passengers want it. We have done passenger testing several times and it has worked really well. We have spoken and shown this to the biggest airlines and customers, flying wide-body aircraft, and they all liked it. And with all the feedback gathered from the airlines, from the passengers, from all the stakeholders in the aviation industry, we have put it together into this kind of prototype mock-up. So I think what has changed is that we are now ready for going through certification and in the final engineering phase to have a seat that flies, and not only that looks good on ground. So the legroom has slightly increased from the previous mock-ups or prototypes that we have brought, because we have realized that people and specifically airlines are looking into new ways of having an economy product that is better, or some kind of new premium economy product. So what we have done is basically increase the seat pitch on this upper row up to 34 inches or 36, it depends on the two modules, because each of them has a different size. And then the lower row is actually at 38 inches, which is the standard seat pitch for premium economy nowadays. So that's why you can see that even if you have long legs like myself, you can fully stretch them and barely touch the panel in front. So your bag is located right underneath you. So here you have a carry-on suitcase, but you could actually have a carry-on and a backpack on top, and you have direct access to it during the flight. So you don't actually have to stand up to get your stuff or push the passenger next to you to stand up to get your stuff. You can directly access it while seated, and the same happens for the lower row. And that's one of the advantages. We also create a personal space for you, so when you go into the aircraft, you're always going to have a spot to put your carry-on, and not just find a place at the back of the aircraft, which is normally where the last empty space is to put your carry-on. You always have a space with you that you can be sure that you can put your luggage and maybe a backpack as well.
So why is direct access better than an overhead locker though?
I think direct access makes it easier for everyone. So if the passenger right next to you, for example, is sleeping and you want to get, your phone charger, you don't have to actually wake them up to go out for it. Even though there's a lot of space, and if you stand up, you can actually pass in front of the other passenger without much issue. But direct access means that you have your luggage always secured right next to you. And it doesn't happen quite often, but sometimes people get their stuff stolen in aircraft. Here is practically impossible that you get your stuff stolen without you noticing, because it's directly below you. I believe that there's a dual accessibility here. It's true that this upper row is less accessible for PRM, so people with reduced mobility, and it's also less accessible for elderly people. But at the same time, that lower row is meant to be much more accessible, because it has a seat that retracts, so the seat pan retracts, and it allows for a very easy ingress and egress. And it also allows, for example, if you have a passenger on a wheelchair, or normally there's an aisle wheelchair that you need to transfer that passenger from into their seat. It's easier to do it in this lower row because you can actually be standing, or the people who have to do the transfer can actually be standing to put that passenger into their seat and help them easily into their seating position for taxi takeoff and landing. So I would say that it's dual accessibility. It's true that one row is less accessible, but on the other hand, the lower row is much more accessible than seats in economy class nowadays or premium economy class nowadays. So yeah, there are always trade-offs. You cannot just give the best for everyone without getting a challenge in one area or the other one. So what we're trying to do is use the trade-offs in our advantage, and what we cannot supply to you in this upper level, we will supply to you in the lower level, and the other way around. And just to add on top of that, the front row, the front part of the module the seats can actually be removed completely, so that you can even travel with your own wheelchair on a tie-down spot. So that's the kind of platform where you can tie a wheelchair, and therefore the passenger can travel comfortably in their tie-down spot, rather than being transferred into one of the economy or premium economy seats. So we have also thought about, passengers with who have to travel on their own wheelchair. There's a spot for them in our seat as well.
What's different about the lower level compared to the upper level that we've just been sitting in?
First of all is the recline angles. With this lower level, you can almost turn it into a full lie flat bed like this. You can also bring the footwell out, and it can be basically a bed in the sky for the price of a premium economy experience. You don't have anyone reclining directly in front of you. They're always reclining on top, so it doesn't bother you or take away from your personal space. Tray table is much larger. It's actually 3 times larger than the one that you would get normally in a premium economy or an economy class seat. And also the privacy here. If you're sitting inside of this seat in an aircraft, you don't have anyone right next to you or directly next to you. You cannot see the passenger in front. You cannot see the passenger behind you. And you can actually stand up on your seat like this, and you have enough space to move, be standing. You can even, if after a long flight you want to be stretching, you can be stretching here. So there are a lot of different movements that you have within your seat that normally you would never get in economy or premium economy.
While the Chaise Longue is looking to disrupt the economy experience by going vertical, our next stop is about perfecting the horizontal. Chris Brady and the team at Unam are taking a more refined approach to business class, focusing on clever geometry and a zero-gravity seating position that aims to set a new standard for long-haul comfort.
In our case, you walk up to the seat with two Allen keys, one Allen key and 2 screws. Remove this screw, and then the whole seat comes out of the seat like a piece of toast. And I can take that back to my workshop and maintain it and repair it, and then in the same minute put a new one back into the seat. There's a Frenchman, famous writer and aviator, de Saint-Exupéry, who says perfection is achieved not when there's nothing left to add, when there's nothing left to take away. And we drive our engineers to reduce and to simplify and to seek and fight for the essence of a design. Because it's very easy to put a bracket on a bracket on a bracket to hold up the thing you've been asked to do. Many airlines don't think they can buy business class seats because they don't have the fleet size to warrant the attention of Safran and Thompson and Collins. And we want to let them know, that community know, that we're around for them. And we can deliver. If you want to buy 1 aircraft from me, we're fine. You want to deliver 2, 3, 5 or 50, we'll deliver those to them. So we haven't got these ridiculous lead times that other people have.
But comfort isn't just about the seat mechanism, it's also about the weight of the aircraft itself. Every kilogram saved is a win for fuel efficiency. To see how far the envelope is being pushed, I headed over for a visit to a team that has turned lightweight engineering into an art form. Let's keep the chain going. I'm now going to meet Amaury, who is the CEO of Explicit, who are making a lightweight titanium and carbon fiber seat for Air France, Air Canada, and some other carriers too.
That seat is 40% lighter versus any other business class seat. The first thing is we make the seat frame out of carbon fiber composite and titanium, and that saves massive weight. A portion of that weight, we use it to put more comfort onto the seat, but also make more robust seat. So for all accessories, we try to avoid any plastic and put carbon fiber back shell, metallic armrest, metallic latch, so that the seat is robust on top of being comfortable and lightweight. Jazeera is flying our seat on A320. When they retrofitted their cabin, they saved 1,200 kilos, so massive weight saving, and they use that weight saving for a portion to densify the aircraft, a portion to add USB all over the aircraft to improve the passenger experience, and there were still 300 kilos of weight saving for fuel saving, for CO2 saving. So the CFO is happy, more tickets, more profit.
While Explicit is pushing the limits of weight reduction, major carriers are looking for ways to integrate that efficiency into a luxury brand. Air Canada has been making waves with a total cabin refresh that aims to bridge the gap between narrow-body efficiency and wide-body luxury. I caught up with John Moody to see exactly how they're planning to redefine the Canadian flying experience.
One of the big advantages of doing this on an aircraft of this size is that it unlocks an entire world of new destinations for Air Canada. Whether it's transcontinental flights within North America, whether it's new destinations throughout Europe, customers will now be able to do that. That starts in the galley. You can see that this seat is at a 49-degree angle. That often on a lot of aircraft creates inefficiencies at the front of that area and the back of that area. What we were able to accomplish was the ability, for example, to store galley carts in a novel way. Essentially installing the galley carts at a 49-degree angle so that we don't waste that space that would be normally unusable in a sort of triangular space here. This ended up leading us to essentially a joggle-shaped panel that does two things. One, if you can see this joggle on the bottom half of the seat, it allows us to push the seat out a bit further into the aisle and create actually a few extra centimeters of bed length to the customer. Those few extra centimeters are the difference between, a 6'2", 188, 190 centimeter customer having enough length in order to lie out completely. So those extra few centimeters are crucial to getting the full bed length that we wanted to achieve in a signature product. Again, we want to create an aisle that has enough space. That allowed us, by not installing a door, to joggle the top half of the divider slightly in. So ultimately, with essentially an extra inch and a half in the bed length, we were then able to push out the top half essentially about 2 inches on each side, which creates a wider aisle where you need the wider aisle. Essentially hip height and above, you gain that additional space. This nightstand acts as an armrest when using it as a seat. You can see a deployable armrest on the below my left shoulder. This space also houses a wireless charger, and something that is unique to Air Canada is what we call the active surface. There's a screen essentially behind the trim and finish on this surface that gives you what I call subtle notifications if you want them throughout the flight. You can imagine, halfway across the Atlantic, you're sleeping on your flight. You want to know where you are. Traditionally, the way you would do that is you turn on your big, bright IFE screen, interrupting your sleep. Well, we wanted to develop a way to be able to give customers the ability to, know where they are. Essentially, think simple sort of map on where they are in their journey. Simple ability to call, flight attendants or turn on lights, without illuminating the entire cabin through the IFE screen.
So how exciting was that? We just saw Air Canada's first look at the new A321 XLR seat, which is really sort of a full circle moment, because last year at AIX, Air Canada invited us behind the scenes to see their first A321 XLR being built. Now we know the seats, and we just have to wait for the imminent, as John Moody put it, the imminent delivery of the aircraft coming soon. A beautiful seat is only half the battle though. In 2026, a cabin is only as good as its digital backbone. Whether it's 4K OLED screens or seamless satellite connectivity, the living room in the sky concept depends entirely on the tech hidden behind the upholstery. One more interview left today. I'm going to see Andy Mason over at Panasonic Avionics, and we're going to see more about the cool concept that they launched yesterday that involves adding better technology to existing screens to bring them in line with the latest Astrova lineup.
A bit like if you had an iPhone 17 and then your old phone was like an iPhone 6, probably about the same time period. You know, some of those applications on the iPhone 6 won't work. Some of the iPhone 17 applications won't work on the iPhone 6. So now what we're going to do is we're taking the Astrova RAM and microprocessor and GPU and putting it in the X series.
Panasonic will go on board your airplane, and they will replace every single monitor overnight, all 200 or 300 of them, so there's no appreciable downtime for the airline. We'll go on board, we'll take every monitor off, put every new monitor on, it's done. We've had a lot of demand of this already.
We go to the map here. Because it has an updated GPU in Neo, you can see it actually can render the map into the interface, and you're starting to see this with the very top-end interfaces today. So you have the map in there, and then if we then go and load the map, this should already be buffered in this one, so it should go pretty quick.
Finally, some of the most clever innovation this year is happening in the spaces usually ignored. Collins Aerospace has taken the often underutilized tapered space at the very back of the aircraft and turned it into something entirely new. It's called the Skynook, and it might just be the most inclusive design win of the show.
During a time that the boarding, now they have a place to place the car seat, secure it to the platform. During taxi takeoff and landing, the child is still in the same standard requirements as in lap. But what's unique about this is when we go into cruise, now the parents have the opportunity of putting the child back in the seat, which gives them the ability not to have to carry the child for 10 or 11 hours. But also now they have free hands. They can get some rest. They can also be, experiencing the joy of flight as well, and really provide some areas for relaxation as well. We've developed a space for service animals to be able to have a location within the travel area that is not typically either in a bulkhead at your feet or at your feet in a row. We have a dedicated area outboard that provides a more opportunity for the passenger sitting here to have more comfort and not have to have anything at their feet, and a dedicated space for more comfort for the animal as well. When we think about what this adds and the value is, typically the outboard space is underutilized. It's not seen as a revenue generator. This solution here now takes that and adds additional revenue generation for the airline, meaning this becomes an option that they can do an upsell to the airline, and now this is goes from a non-revenue generation to revenue generation solution.
Walking the floor, it's clear that the one-size-fits-all cabin is officially dead. Whether it's the vertical ambition of the Chaise Longue or the refined engineering at Unum and Explicit, the focus has shifted towards maximizing every single inch of the aircraft. These aren't just prototypes, they're the blueprints for the next decade of aviation. But I want to know what you think. Would you trade your traditional economy seat for a double-decker chaise experience? Or is the future all about the premium tech we saw at Panasonic? Drop a comment below with the innovation that impressed you most, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our other deep dives into the aviation industry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles and a podcast every week. Visit simpleflying.com.